So now tell me, how did you find this story about Oliver O'Grady?
Well, I was writing and producing stories for CNN investigations, and this was one of the stories I was covering. Basically, I finished a big investigation on the LA church abuse and priests under Cardinal Mahoney that were abusing and being moved around instead of taken out of ministry. And Oliver O'Grady's name popped up a bunch of times in the last story that I worked on, and I was able to get his phone number. And after talking to him on the phone for about 5 months and meeting him in person, he agreed to go on camera. And I felt like this was the story that hadn't been told yet. This was straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So it was hard to not tell the story.
Now, I saw the film back when they had the LA Film Festival.
Right, right.
And really quite an impact you made. And you also had some of the victims of Father O'Grady in the audience, and they got up and they talked a little bit about it. What was that like when you were filming people and asking them to relive these experiences that you didn't realize that even to this day, these people would break down as they're doing these interviews? That must have been really intense for you. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was so, it's just one of the, it's never going to go away for them, no matter how much they say or do. But offering them an opportunity to speak about something that they're so passionate about was somewhat therapeutic for them, and they've all said that at the end of this whole process. But it was difficult. It was really difficult to watch people experience so much pain, and it was so kind of right there, and it was a really, really, really arduous task to take on, for sure.
Now, after you finished the film, did you show it to Father O'Grady? Did he want to see it?
He hasn't seen it yet. I have offered it to him, and he's just not ready. I'd really like him to see it. I'm afraid to just kind of send it blindly. He's had to move a couple times since we started interviewing. When the news broke about this film, all the Irish press were kind of on his doorstep. 2 different times, actually, when it hit the news. So he's moved, and I don't have his current address, but I've spoken with him and told him that I need to send him this movie, and he's meant to get back to me.
The name of the film is Deliver Us from Evil. One thing about the film is the way it's shot and the editing. You had a great crew to do this film.
Yep.
I mean, it's very rich looking.
Yeah, the cinematographers are both Dogma filmmakers. They're both from Denmark, and since I was shooting in Ireland, it kind of made a lot of sense to use people from over there, and their style is just absolutely incredible. And my editor is just amazing. He's from Los Angeles. His name's Matthew Cook, and he's just an amazing editor, so it's a good experience.
So how long did it take you to make the film Deliver Us from Evil?
About 1.5 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
From conception to completion, a year and a half?
But I had been working on this story for 4 years before that, for CNN and CBS before that, so I had all this information, and a lot of it was in my head, but a lot of it I had already researched and had the documents readily available. The deposition footage was just a great thing to add to the film, obviously, and that was brand new and never before seen. But I knew the story pretty well, so it was just a matter of putting it together and then putting it together again and again, and it took us like 6 months to edit it.
How much footage did you have? How many hours?
I have like 170 hours of footage, yeah. I like to let people express themselves and talk. I don't like to interrupt them, so it just makes it, the logging took a long time.
Now, how do you go about doing that in terms of, you know you have a story, but how does the story become a story?
Well, all of their stories kind of coincided at different times, so it was a matter of just finding the best way to tell it. It was an obvious story. Just Oliver O'Grady's story is a story in itself. Here's a guy who was in the church. He was a priest. He admitted to abusing children from almost the beginning of his career, and there was this huge paper trail, but nothing was ever done. So that was like the first part of it, and then adding in the pieces when he met up with different people, and when Mahoney didn't do anything, Monsignor Kane didn't do anything, Cardinal Ratzinger didn't do anything. That was kind of it was tricky, but we managed to get it all in there. And there were so many things I wanted to keep in there that we couldn't keep in because it would have been a 3-hour movie. So